We're gonna be talking about oops, we're gonna be talking about some very sensitive topics. But in the course of talking about these very sensitive topics, there's something that I really need to stress and really take the time to convey to you. Some of what these struggles are happens because a familiar spirit will come in and suggest that we believe a certain way. And then if we do believe that certain way, they have permission because of what we have said to bring that sickness or that way of thinking into fruit, into what the Bible calls fruition. Basically, what you've said becomes a fruit, becomes manifest in your life. Now, the reason why this is not something that I'm taking very lightly is because it is the principality of the deaf and dumb spirit. So, accidents that get you to a scenario where you can't speak. Drownings, of course, take you to that period where you can't speak. Fire, auto accidents, or if you're accident prone. Listen, you've got to realize there is a demonic spirit for every possible issue under the sun. There is. Instead of recognizing that there are so many demonic spirits for all these things, recognize that before these demonic spirits ever existed, God's design was first. God's design was on the earth first. Yes, Adam and Eve ate of the tree of knowledge, traded away the dominion. But then Jesus comes and he gives to his disciples authority over every scorpion, over every snake, also known as every familiar spirit. Now, Jesus never at any time said, you know what, you fools are doing so much trash, you fools are doing so much wrong, I'm just going to take it back. He's never said it. So why are we not able to get past this? How about we are actually wrongly believing it is okay to have accidents, drownings, fires, auto accidents, or accidents happening all the time. You see, the issue is not that the demonic exists. The issue is we're wrongly believing it's okay for them to exist in our lives. So, as it is in the description for each of the prayers that you're going to see coming up, when it's just underlined, it's something that will keep you out of heaven. When it's underlined and as it is here, italicized, there's a lie in there that's perpetrated, and when you believe the lie, guess what? Liars don't have a place in heaven. So if you're believing it's okay to have an accident, no, you have just validated death or an invitation to death in your life. Why would you do that? Possibly you didn't know that this was such an issue. So that's that one. So it's not just the wrongly believing it's okay to have accidents. What if you are believing it's okay to have convulsions? You have just invited some type of disease into your life where the convulsion is a side effect. You're saying it's okay to do. No, it is not okay. The moment that you believe that it's okay to have convulsions, you have just said that it's not okay to be healed. Think about what you're saying. If you're saying it's okay to have something like a disease of the ears or the eyes, you're saying it's not okay to be healed. The disease of eyes or ears is a master. The being healed is a master. You cannot serve both. This is very important. You see, I'm not coming to you about whether or not you have had an accident, whether or not you've had convulsions, whether or not you've had diseases of eyes or ears. It's not whether you've had it. It's whether or not you've believed it is okay to have it. And I'll share a little story after I go over these topics, just to illustrate what it is that I'm talking about. If you've ever encountered epilepsy, it is terrifying for both the person who has it and the people around. I was blessed to be somewhat acquainted to what it is, but then I got into a relationship and this girl had really bad epilepsy. She believed it was okay for her to stop taking her medication because she believed God had healed her. Hey, listen, it's great that you don't want to take your medication, but don't do it, especially with epilepsy, until you get the doctor's affirmative you don't have epilepsy anymore. Okay? But if you're believing it's okay to have epilepsy, or if you're believing it's okay to be mentally ill or insane, let me share a little bit of spiritual facts here with you. Every place where someone is mentally ill or insane, it comes about because of several generations of people drinking human blood. Yeah. So if you have difficulty having a clear mind, there's a very good possibility someone in your bloodline was a witch or a warlock or something in the occult, and they believed it was okay to drink human blood. Well, first of all, believing it's okay to be mentally ill meant they were also okay with drinking the blood. So you got two things. The first thing of drinking blood is the occult, and believing it's okay to be mentally ill or insane, that's like the stepchild of the occult. And both of those, as you can see, italics, you're believing a lie of something that's okay to have. It's not okay. If you're believing it's okay to be mentally ill, you're telling God it's okay for you to never be healed. Hear the real facts. Hear it. If you're saying it's okay to be mentally ill or insane, or that it's okay to have seizures, a friend of mine working with this young lady, and the young lady has multiple sclerosis. And some of the side effect of multiple sclerosis is when the muscles are trying to do a thing, but they can't actually get to there. The person starts to have a seizure, and it starts to curl their fingers. Any person who says it's okay to have that is telling God, I'm okay with the suffering. Don't heal me. But the belief that it's okay to have seizures, or that it's okay to believe that you're stupid or dumb, it's a lie that you're believing. First Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. A solid, healthy mind. That is what God has given us. So if you're believing it's okay to be stupid or dumb, you're saying God is a liar. First John chapter 1, the writer is saying, if you say that you are a Christian, but you walk in darkness, you are a liar. Liars don't have a place in heaven. So if you're believing it's okay to be stupid or dumb, or if you're believing it's okay to feel like you're in a stupor, it's a lie that you're believing. And this gets really dicey because the next this next one that I'm going to put up, I really want to make it very clear. I used to believe it is okay to have suicidal thoughts. I used to believe it was okay to attempt suicide. I did. I used to. Thankfully, God has set me free from that way of believing. I used to be very full of depression, anxiety, could not concentrate for anything, and yes, suicidal. And I carried it for about 20, no, not 20. I carried it for about 30 years. I carried it from the age of 4 to the age of 36. So a little over 30 years. 36 is when I was finally set free. Here's how I was set free. Someone gave me a prayer to pray. I prayed it. Boom, just like that. Set free of depression, set free of anxiety, set free of believing it was that I just had to take my life some way, somehow. But then, when I was 38, just too short, years later, I was in a church, and I was just sharing my testimony, and people just, wow, this guy's got a real story. We could learn a thing or two from him. And this woman came up to me. She says, you have such amazing insight from the throne of God. Would you like to join my Facebook group? I was like, okay, sure. What's it about? She said, it's all about how to be a blessing to other people when they're going through something tough. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to be an encourager. So, I was in the group for a little bit. I shared with the group how, if you've had a miscarriage, it's important to name the child because there's a blessing that comes to the child and also the parent for doing that. And so many people were touched. There's 120 people in the group. I got so many comments. Wow, Norm, you really have such a blessing. I did not know that I was missing out on a blessing because I didn't name my son or didn't name my daughter. And then one day, the topic of depression came up. Now, this church where this woman had met me, I knew the pastor. She didn't know it. Her loss. But I'd only been coming for a few months. And so she believed that I was only a couple months old in the faith. So when I began to tell people that depression is demonic, believing this thing of wanting to commit suicide, that's death. This thing of being anxious all the time, that's death. I begin to tell people that's demonic spirit that you can agree you're guilty of serving and you can lay it down. She got pissed. She's like, Norm, please take down your comment. It's a lie. I said, no, it's not. I had depression for 32 years. I said one prayer. I don't have it anymore. I know very much what it's like to have depression. I don't have it anymore. She's like, there are people in this group that have been here for like 10 or 12 years, and they're always struggling with depression because they're always going to struggle with depression. I said, well, then you're advocating witchcraft. She's like, I can't believe Yuri, which is the pastor, I can't believe Yuri would let you into the church. I said, if you have an issue with me, take it up with Yuri. So she does. She calls up the pastor. Pastor, I'm so happy that you put me on this. I'm so sorry. I'm so happy that you put me onto this ministry team of being able to help those who are downtrodden, brokenhearted. But I recently added someone to that team, and they are full of witchcraft. You have to get them out of here. And the pastor said, ooh, whoa. That's some pretty serious stuff you're saying there. And I don't mind saying her name. Her name was Angela. He says, Angela, that's pretty serious stuff that you're saying. Who is it? She's like, oh, it doesn't matter who it is, Pastor. You know you have to get rid of this guy. He is so poisonous. Oh, okay, so it's a guy. Who is he? No, Pastor, this guy is so full of lies. He's so full of witchcraft. He believes that depression is demonic. And he says, I told you it's demonic. She said, well, yeah, he said he knows you, and I know he's lying. And Pastor Yuri's like, whoa, who is it? She says, it's some guy named Norm. Yuri says, are you talking about Norman Miller? She's like, yeah, I think so. He says, yeah, I delivered him from witchcraft when he was 14 years old. Well, that's a stunner for her, because she's known Yuri for 15 years. Now, I got a nice youthful complexion. Even at the age of 38, nobody knew I was 38. Because I had no beard, so everybody thought I was in my 20s. She says, he says he's known you for a long time. And he says, what is he? 38? Yeah, I've known him for 18 years. Actually, no, I take that back. He says, I've known him since about the time he was born. I've known Norm for 38 years. She's like, well, you have to throw him out. He's full of witchcraft. And he says, Angela, why? I've told you since day one, depression, being anxious, being suicidal, it's all demonic. It's a demonic spirit telling you how to think. And if you're saying the same thing, you're making an agreement with witchcraft. She said, well, if you're not going to agree with me, I'm leaving. And he says, well, God be with you. So the next Sunday that I was there, the pastor comes over to me. He comes over to me. He says, Norman, do we have a problem? And I said, I don't know, Yuri. Do we? He says, I hear you said to Angela that depression is witchcraft. I said, yeah, I did. He says, I hear you told her that believing in suicide is witchcraft. I said, yes, I did. He says, I hear you told her that believing anxiety is okay is witchcraft. I said, I most definitely said that. He says, I'm so happy to hear that, because I've been telling her for 15 years. And then God brings someone in to tell her the same thing. I said, oh, wow. Where is she? Can I talk to her? He says, I don't think you'll ever talk to her again. She left the church. I said, that would explain why she's blocked me on Facebook. A few weeks later, I saw her husband. He was stopping by to say goodbye to all those within the Ohio family because they'd moved to another state. And I saw him, I went up to him and I said, hey, I need to speak with you. He says, Angela said you would. And he says, listen, I'm glad that you are blunt, and I'm glad that you told her what so many people have been telling her. Believing that's okay to have depression, that's witchcraft. Believing it is okay to be suicidal, witchcraft. Believing it is okay to have anxiety, witchcraft. He says, I pray for her every night that she would come to a revelation that what she is believing and teaching others is witchcraft. We shook hands. I've never seen him again. I've never seen her again. It's serious. Believing that it's okay to have any of these things, you're believing a lie. It will keep you out of heaven. Now, as you go through these prayers, you find one that absolutely nails it for you, leave a comment on the prayer. Leave a comment on this particular series of videos. Tell us which one helped you. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. If it really helped you, share it with your friends and family. Let's get the word out. The verdict of the cross is not guilty, but we gotta walk in righteousness. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.